Hey everybody, and welcome to Quickies. If you are a home user or a prosumer user of video switchers and you own something like an Atem Mini, Rode just announced a game-changing device called the Rodecaster Video. This device has some huge improvements on things that have been missing from other devices like the Atem. We're going to have a quick look at some photos and have a quick talk about some of the features so that you know what's coming. And we're going to do that right now. Let's go! Okay, so let's have a quick look at the front of the device. You can see we've got two rows, one that is a letter row, A through G, and then one that is a number row, 1 through 6, and an additional button. We've got some additional buttons to the side, and then we've got a little touch screen as well as rotary encoders and our usual like auto and cut buttons. So at first glance, this is just pretty much like a typical video switcher. But if we have a look at the back here, we're going to hit some key features that are on the back for I/O, and then we're going to talk about what you can actually do with this device really quickly, and you'll have a pretty good idea of why this is kind of a big improvement on what's out there already. So we've got combo jacks in, huge improvement already over something like the Atem Mini line. So now you can do XLR or 1/4 inch in as opposed to just a 1/8 inch in that we had with the Atem line. There's two 1/4 inch monitor outputs. There is two 1/4 inch headphone outputs. We've got two HDMI outputs. Those are configurable. You can choose what you want on them. Your choices are program, preview, or multi-view. You've got your 4 HDMI inputs. Those are video and audio in. You've got 5 USB-C connections. So there's a few things you can do here. You can do additional audio microphones in that are USB. You can do webcams in directly, which is great because in other switchers you need to have a converter to convert from webcam to HDMI, and that's additional cost and quite a bit of additional cost. So it's amazing that this is here already. You've also got control connections to your computer, and you have a connection for an external USB drive. You've got a wired Ethernet connection, you have a micro SD card slot, and then of course you have your USB-C power input. So let's talk about what you can actually do with this thing. You've got 4 HDMI inputs and 2 USB ports that you can use with web cameras if you want. So that gives you a total of 6 live video sources. You have the ability to store video, still graphics, and audio clips for use as playback or backgrounds or other content. You can store that directly on the SD card. That's what that slot is for. You can stream directly from this device. You don't need a computer to stream. That's not anything new, but it's cool that it's here. You've got your 2 XLR or 1/4 inch inputs, giving you some really great abilities there that we didn't have on other devices for connecting microphones or audio sources. You can also do 2 wired USB audio sources on here. So if you have USB Rode microphones, you can connect those to these USB slots. You can also pair a Bluetooth device, which you would be familiar with if you've used any of the Rodecaster Pro or Duo models. You can use that for live callers. You can connect up to two wireless microphones directly to this unit. It has 2 built-in wireless mic receivers. So something like a Rode Interview Pro or a Rode Wireless Pro can connect directly to this device, giving you 2 additional microphones. In addition, on one of your USB inputs, you can actually connect a Rodecaster Pro 2 or a Rodecaster Duo, and anything you've got mixed on those devices you can now send via USB as a USB audio input to have all that pre-mixed audio available as an audio input on this device. Amazing! You can create independent mixes for all of your outputs. That's your stream output, your headphone outputs, your monitor outputs. Any output can have its own custom mix. So if you want to leave something out of one mix and have it in another, you have that ability. Amazing. This is something that they introduced with Rodecaster Pro 2 but did not have on the first version of that console, and it was a big bone of contention for people with that first one. So I'm glad they put it on the second one, and it's amazing that they've included it here. Super, super great. It's also something you don't have the ability to do on other video mixers, so Amazing work on that Rode. They've also got mix minus, not just on the Bluetooth, but on some of the USB audio connections, which is pretty amazing. And you can connect an external drive, as I mentioned. You can do that on USB input 3, and that allows you to not only just record what you're doing, but you can ISO record. So all of your inputs can be recorded independently, which gives you the ability to create something else in post after your production. Awesome. And of course, if you have this connected to your computer via USB, you can use it as a multi-track recording device and an audio interface. This is something that was introduced with the Rodecaster Pro line of audio consoles. So they're building on that engine and putting it into this video device as well. Additionally, you've got built-in keys and you've got built-in layouts, either pre-configured ones or you can customize, meaning where you have multiple camera angles visible on the screen at one time and laid out in a way that you like. You can use pre-built ones or you can configure it yourself in this box. And they've broken it into what's called scenes. So what you can do, that top row of buttons that you see on the front that's labeled A through G, those are 7 presets that allow you to recall a scene instantly. So in scene 1, you can have, camera A, B, C, D if you want. In scene 2, you can have camera A and B in different sizes, and you can recall those scene layouts instantly with just those single button pushes on the top row. The bottom row, of course, is your live input selection. So what's great about those scene buttons is that you can lay out different scenes ahead of time, and instead of having to change sources on the fly before you pull them to screen, you have them pre-built already, so you can just instantly recall those scenes. It's a pretty great way of doing something that already existed in the switcher world, but it's made it quick and seamless for people who are maybe novice users, or maybe it's just a single person trying to run a whole show, and sometimes you just don't have time to get into the real nuts and bolts of things, and you just want it ready and available to you as you are live. It's a pretty great way of doing it. And now maybe the coolest feature of this device, which if you watch this channel is something that is probably going to pique your interest, and that is auto switching, meaning video follows audio. So you can have your video sources, your cameras switch based on the audio input, and you can choose in the device which audio inputs are tied to which input. So I've already got 2 videos on this channel that have to do with auto switching your Atem sources via audio, and I did that using a regular audio console, and I did it using the Rodecaster. And it's doable, and it's great that we could do it, but it wasn't a seamless operation, and it took some work. But they've now taken all that guesswork out, and they have included that function inside this device. Absolutely amazing, and a real game changer for one-person operations, or even multi-person but small operations who don't want to have to sit and manually switch cameras during a video podcast. Absolutely incredible. This just proves that Rode was paying attention to what's going on the landscape. They watched what people were doing, they watched the things that people didn't like and the things that they did, and they took all those things that were missing and they threw them into this device and made it usable for an average user. Pretty game-changing in my opinion. So those are the key highlights. I wish that I had a device here so I could go through it in depth, but sadly, I'm not a big enough YouTube channel to get one of these devices from Rode ahead of the release date. And speaking of that, I do not know when this is going to be released. I can't find any information on that, and I don't know what the price point is going to be. Here's hoping it's in line with some of the Atem mini stuff, hopefully on the lower end, but there's an awful lot going on with this device, so I wouldn't be surprised if it pushes towards the higher end. Regardless, as more information becomes available on this, of course, I'm going to update you and let you know. In the meantime, if you want to have a little bit more of an in-depth look at some of these functions, Parecki has a really great video, which I will link to down below. And I'm also going to link to the user manual, which is available. So if you want to read through these functions in detail, you have that ability. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope this was interesting, entertaining, and educational. And if it was any of those three things, please like and share and subscribe. Check us out on Patreon. Join the channel down below if you want to. Or if you just want to say thanks for something that we've done on the channel, there's always the super thanks down below. You can tailor your contribution there just to let us know that we helped you out. Anything you do is helpful to this channel and we appreciate it. So thanks in advance. Until we see you next time, thanks for watching here on Cookies. Bye, everybody.